Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place where we take your sources, articles, research, notes, you name it, and, well, we dig in to find the insights that matter most for you. Today, we are getting into something pretty profound. The hypersymmetric path to healing and coherence. Yeah, our sources mix ancient stuff like Kriya practices with really modern science, think brain-heart coherence, even neurogenesis. It's quite a blend. So our goal here, we want to break down what coherence really means in this big picture, how it links up to this huge theory of everything they talk about, and more importantly, how all these different practices might actually boost your well-being, speed up healing, maybe even help with manifestation. These ideas could genuinely change how you see your own potential. So let's start at the beginning. This material mentions okay, get ready for this, hypersymmetric, hyperdimensional, hyperspace, coherent resonance theory of everything. HHHCR Toditsui. Wow, that's a mouthful. Before we tackle that, what's the simplest way to get our heads around coherence in this whole thing?
Right. Well, at its heart, coherence in this HHHCR idea is basically about perfect harmony, perfect order. Think of it like invisible energy patterns, organizing everything, stuff that goes way beyond our normal three dimensions. Coherence is when everything, particles, fields, all of it resonates perfectly with these basic patterns. It keeps things stable, predictable. It's really what holds the universe together, from like galaxies down to atoms, keeps it all integrated. Okay, so that's the huge cosmic scale order.
Yeah.
How does our personal coherence, between our brain and heart fit into that massive picture? It's like a mirror, really, the big reflecting the small. Those meditations that focus on brain-heart coherence, they're basically designed to help you achieve that same kind of harmonious resonance, but inside your own energy field, your biofield. The theory goes that when you hit that coherent state, you're kind of lining yourself up with those fundamental coherent patterns of the universe. And the implication there is huge. It means you might be able to manifest things, heal more effectively, because you're literally flowing with the universe's natural rhythm.
And the sources say there's science behind this, actual validation for the brain-heart stuff. What kind of proof are we talking about? Makes it feel less abstract,
Exactly. And yes, there's real-world evidence. Studies actually show measurable changes. You can see it in heart rate variability, in brainwave patterns, even in markers for stress going down. This scientific support, well, it fits perfectly with the HHHCR TOE idea. It shows that coherent interactions aren't just theory. They have real physical effects in our bodies. It gives a kind of scientific footing to these big ideas about universal coherence.
Which brings us to something really fundamental, self-healing. We all know our bodies can do amazing things to repair themselves. How does the theory explain that?
Well, the sources talk about these intrinsic coherent structures inside us, almost like a hidden blueprint for perfect health. And by learning to sort of activate and align these through different practices, you tap into that bigger coherent resonance, the hypersymmetric fields they mention. This alignment, it's like a master key. It unlocks healing. It facilitates manifestation. It's all about tuning ourselves back to the universe's natural harmony, letting our systems remember their best state.
It really is amazing how old wisdom and new science seem to be pointing at the same things, isn't it? Okay, let's zoom in a bit. From the whole universe down to us, our own energy blueprint. The sources mention the biofield and chakras making this unified, four-dimensional dynamic structure. What does that actually look like, and where does the heart fit in?
Yeah, imagine this, like vibrant field of energy. It's not just around you, it actually goes through your physical body. That's the biofield. And within that, you've got chakras. Think of them like little energy whirlpools, spinning, managing the flow of life force. The sources even talk about something called the hologene and holomid, kind of like your body's energetic blueprint and its operating system, making sure everything's aligned and coherent from cells right out to your aura. And the heart, it's absolutely central. It's not just circulation. It is the strongest generator of electromagnetic fields in your body, by far. The sources actually call it the main hub, the seat of this hologene, and it directly influences the holomid. So picture your heart radiating energy, synchronizing your whole biofield, lining up those chakras. Its field is way stronger than the brain's. And here's the really mind-bending part. The claim is that this field can actually change the electrical and magnetic properties of atoms, inside you and around you.
Wow, change atoms.
Yeah. Think of your heart's field like a master tuning fork for your whole body, aligning the very atoms so they resonate perfectly. It's suggesting your heart is directly involved in cellular renewal, healing right down at the fundamental level.
So doing things like brain-heart coherence practices, we're basically tuning ourselves back to that blueprint, getting back into alignment. But what about when we feel stuck? Resistance to change, fear, stuff we all deal with. How does the theory handle those roadblocks?
That's a really important question. Resistance, fear. They're seen as disruptions in your coherence, breaks in the pattern. But the good news is, consistent practice meditation, self-awareness, these things are described as the way back, the way to restore coherence and help healing happen. The sources really stress consistency. Regular coherence meditation strengthens that alignment with the universal resonance, makes healing and manifestation work better over time. They also mention mentors or guides potentially helping people align their fields, and crucially, shifting your beliefs is key. Getting past skepticism, facing the fear of the unknown. It involves building trust, feeling safe enough to really lean into this resonance idea. Faith comes into it.
Okay, and manifestation, let's touch on that again. Some people hear that word and it sounds a bit out there. What do the sources mean by it in this context? Does coherence really speed it up?
Yeah, good clarification. The sources are quite direct. As you get more coherent, your ability to manifest what you desire speeds up. It's not just, wishful thinking. The idea is you become a better receiver and transmitter. Think of it like this. Your internal system's coherent, so your intentions are clearer, stronger. They resonate better with those universal fields. Energy and information just flow more easily, making it, easier for your desires to actually show up in your reality. You're aligning with the universe's creative flow.
Yeah. I think we've got a good handle on the what and why of coherence now, so let's get practical. The how. Our sources give us a whole toolbox of methods.
They really do. A lot of pathways. First, you have meditation practices. Things like brain-heart coherence, focusing on breathing, that heart-brain link. Mindfulness, being present. Transcendental meditation, using a mantra. Then energy healing practices. Reiki, Qigong, healing touch. All about balancing energy fields. Sound healing is in there too. Binaural beats, using frequencies to guide brainwaves. Crystal singing bowls for vibration. Mantra chanting, using sound vibration for focus. Breathwork techniques are key. Pranayama-specific breathing patterns, holotropic breathwork for deeper release. Physical practices, obviously important. Yoga, Tai Chi unifying body, mind, spirit, balancing energy. And native connection, grounding or earthing, forest bathing, Shinri, tree yoku, basically syncing up with nature's frequencies. Finally, visualization and intention. Creative visualization, affirmations focusing your mind, shifting consciousness.
That's a comprehensive list. But then this is where it gets really intriguing. The sources talk about an advanced formula, a way to maybe amplify this coherence using some pretty potent tools.
Yes, this is where they discuss a specific protocol. It involves potentially integrating certain psychoactive substances, if used responsibly and legally. They stress that alongside binaural beats and other practices. The idea, the theory, is that these substances might act as catalysts, temporarily opening things up for deeper emotional release, for energetic alignment, kind of priming the system for these coherent frequencies. The source gives examples like MMDA or 2CB, noting their empathogenic effects for heart openness. Psilocybin mushrooms are mentioned for introspection, emotional release, making the brain more receptive. DMT for, profound spiritual experiences. But the emphasis really is on responsible, legal use. Starting low dose, approaching it with an open heart and mind, seeing it as a catalyst. The benefits, they say, come from unifying universal coherence with your heart-brain coherence. So a smaller amount makes sense in that context, not a recreational approach. They also suggest alternatives, neurotropics, natural cocoa, activating music. And they absolutely highlight setting your mindset, your environment, and maybe having a guide or facilitator.
Crucial caveats there.
Definitely. And alongside this, binaural beats are used. Fadeaways for deep states, alpha for clarity, usually with headphones, starting maybe 10-15 minutes before anything else kicks in. And supportive practices are seen as vital throughout coherent breathing, heart math style focus, guided visualization. It's about constructive integration.
That is definitely a lot to take in. For someone considering exploring that path, what does the actual practical application look like according to the sources?
Well, the outline starts with baseline sessions. Guided heart coherence, meditation, breathwork, visualization. Get that foundation first. Then maybe introduce binaural beats gradually. If, and it's a big if, based on legality and personal choice, someone considers those specific psychoactive substances, the source suggests a responsible low dose in a controlled, intentional setting. Again, emphasizing it's a catalyst for alignment, not the whole solution. The focus stays firmly on the heart-brain connection, reinforced with visualization, affirmations, and afterwards, integration is key. Journaling, talking with a guide perhaps, and committing to regular practice to keep building on that coherence.
Okay, wow. This deep dive just keeps going deeper. Now, the
Mhm.
sources bring in Kriya Yoga and something called the God current. What's that about? This divine energy? How does Kriya fit into all this coherence talk?
Right? The God current in Kriya Yoga. It's understood as this powerful guiding energy flow. You could call it universal life force, maybe. The sources link it to that hyperspace coherent resonance. It's believed to flow up and down the spine through the chakras, and it's seen as key for spiritual awakening, for deep bioenergetic coherence. Kriya Yoga techniques, the specific pranayama of breathing, meditation, mudras or hand gestures, bandhas or energy locks, they're designed precisely to channel and circulate this energy. So how does it boost coherence? Well, several ways. You're actively channeling these divine coherent energies, aligning your physical, mental, spiritual self with that universal coherence. Kriya is also said to purify the nervous system, removing blockages so energy flows smoothly. That obviously supports heart-brain harmony. And the deep meditation in Kriya. It's thought to promote neurogenesis, new brain cells, and release healing hormones. This could lead to helpful epigenetic changes, maybe even clearing out old traumas, ancestral stuff, stored at a cellular level.
So, connecting the dots. How do these Kriya practices really weave into everything else? The heart-brain coherence, neurogenesis, even ceremonial healing.
It's a beautiful integration, actually, a real synergy.
Hmm.
The sources describe a combined practice. You've got Kriya Yoga itself. Then, layered with heart-brain coherence techniques, the breathing, the emotional focus, plus neurogenesis practices, exercise, diet, mental stimulation, and finally, ceremonial healing. Using rituals, visualization creates this powerful container for the deep work. Practically, it means setting an intention to channel that God current, creating a sacred space, doing the Kriya practices consistently, and integrating the physical exercise and diet. It's really holistic, multi-layered.
Which leads us right into brain health and this idea of generational healing. The sources talk a lot about neurogenesis, growing new brain cells, and linking it to epigenetic clearing. That sounds incredibly deep. Healing trauma, even ancestral stuff. How does that work?
Yeah, this is where it gets really impactful. So, neurogenesis protocols involve things we can all do. Moderate aerobic exercise like brisk walking, yoga, neurogenic diet, omega-3s, blueberries, turmeric, green tea are mentioned. Good sleep, and keeping your brain active, puzzles, learning new things, these aren't separate. They're integrated into heart-brain coherence work, ceremonies to boost mental health, thinking, overall well-being.
Yep.
Epigenetics, how does this help heal on that deep level? Well, first, getting your heart and brain in sync through coherence calms your nervous system way down. Less stress, more emotional balance.
Okay, and that matters for genes because
Yeah. Because chronic stress can literally put negative sticky notes on your DNA, changing how genes express themselves. That's epigenetics in a nutshell. But being calm, coherent, you can start peeling off those negative notes. Allows healthier gene expression, builds what they call coherent resilience, linked to good epigenetic changes. Neurogenesis itself also leads to epigenetic shifts that help learning, memory, emotional regulation, all crucial for healing trauma. And the anti-inflammatory effect of exercise and those foods. That reduces inflammation, which contributes to negative epigenetic marks. And the ceremonial healing part, that provides a safe space for emotional release. The act of processing and releasing emotions can itself trigger epigenetic shifts. Plus, rituals, symbols, they can help you connect with deeper consciousness, ancestral memories maybe, facilitating the release of inherited trauma. That's a huge concept for epigenetic clearing, healing yourself, and potentially shifting things for generations to come.
that's really powerful. So, for someone listening who's interested in this epigenetic healing aspect, what are some concrete first steps based on the sources?
Okay, the practical application looks something like this. First, set a clear intention. What epigenetic patterns do you want to heal? Create a safe, sacred space for practice. Then, consistently do heart-brain coherence meditation, maybe 20-30 minutes. Focus on that deep rhythmic breathing. Pair it with moderate aerobic exercise daily, say 20-30 minutes, and commit to that neurogenesis-friendly diet. During meditation, maybe add binaural beats. Theta and alpha ranges are suggested for cognitive enhancement. Keep your mind stimulated with learning or puzzles. And finally, use guided visualization. Connect with ancestral memories if that feels right. Use symbolic rituals, lighting a candle, writing and burning a letter to signify releasing trauma. And always, always finish with relaxation and reflection. Journaling is great for integrating it all.
What an incredible journey we've taken today, really, from coherence as this fundamental universal principle, all the way down to intensely personal, practical ways to heal, expand our awareness, even manifest desires. We've seen how ancient Kriya Yoga, modern neurogenesis insights, the power of heart-brain coherence, how it all knits together through this HHHCR in toe lens. It really drives home that feeling of interconnectedness, doesn't it, of harmony being the baseline. So, as we wrap up, here's something to chew on. If our heart truly is this incredibly powerful electromagnetic generator capable of influencing atoms, connecting us to these deeper fields, what could we collectively achieve? What shifts could happen if we all consciously worked on cultivating more coherence in our own lives and, well, in the world? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions.